Since my childhood, I have always felt something magical about forests. The long, towering trees, the sunlight struggling to break through their canopy, the silence so deep that you can almost hear your heartbeat. Sometimes a soft wind passes through and the whole forest begins to whisper. Other times, there is absolute stillness, a silence that feels both sacred and unknown. I have always seen the forest as a world beyond human rules, untouched, free, and ancient. No one tells a tree how to grow or where to stand. The forest lives by its own laws of birth, decay, and renewal. And I used to wonder how it feel to stand in such a place at night when the forest holds its breath beneath the moonlight. It's a world that belongs not to us, but to something deeper, a quiet order that existed long before our voices. And then one day, I discovered a forest that also holds memory, a forest that is at the same time a cemetery. This is Waldfriedhof in Munich, the forest cemetery. Here, life and death don't oppose each other, they walk side by side under the same canopy of green. The air here doesn't speak of endings, it speaks of peace, the quiet, the scent of pine, the feeling that time itself has slowed down, as if the forest is breathing gently around me. Founded in 1907, it was unlike anything the world had seen before. Designed by city architect Hans Gressel, it was Germany's first cemetery built to look and feel like nature itself. No straight lines, no rigid symmetry, only winding paths, tall pines, and light that filters like memory. Here, architecture steps aside and nature becomes the cathedral. As I walk further inside, through the trees, a building begins to appear, not grand or imposing, but humble, almost shy in its presence. This is the funeral hall of the old part of Waldfriedhof. From the outside, it looks more like a forest chapel than a city structure. There is no towering gate, no monumental facade. It stands quietly about 100 meters inside the cemetery, already part of the forest itself. Architect Hans Gressel wanted it this way. He designed it to blend with the landscape, not to dominate it. The Waldfriedhof was his vision, completed in 1907, one of the four great cemeteries built for Munich at the turn of the century. But this one was different. It wasn't meant to impress, it was meant to disappear and to become one with the trees. In that simplicity, it found a deeper kind of beauty, a beauty that doesn't seek attention, only harmony. He allowed the existing forest to guide the paths, keeping the trees taller than any building, while other cemeteries in Munich were defined by monumental stone and order. This one was defined by absence of control. It was first forest cemetery in Europe, and it quietly changed the way the world thought about death, nature, and remembrance. The cemetery stretches across 400 acres, making it Munich's largest cemetery, with over 64,000 graves nestled among the trees. Each resting place seems to have grown naturally, never imposed upon the land. The graves vary from traditional burials and urn enclosures to crypts, mausoleums, and even burials beneath trees. There are also anonymous graves where names are not carved in stone, where the forest alone remembers. Here, there are even places for stillborn children, soft corners of the forest where love never had time to speak aloud. Each one rests beneath the same sunlight, among the same whispering branches. The forest doesn't divide, it unites. Even here, in a place of memory, life quietly continues. Some come to walk, others jog. Not what you expect in a cemetery, but the forest air invites them, and the canopy of trees calms their thoughts. The deeper you wander, the quieter it becomes, and the mind slows along with your steps. It isn't only the resting who belong here. In this forest, life and remembrance exist side by side, breathing together in quiet harmony. Hidden among the trees, the St. Anastasia Chapel stands quietly, its walls touched by sunlight filtering through the forest canopy, not imposing, not grand, but gentle, a place where sacred hills open into the forest itself. Centuries of prayers and memories linger here, softened by leaves, moss, and the rhythm of passing seasons. Inside, light spills through the stained glass, casting colors that dance slowly on stone and wood. The forest embraces the chapel, and in that embrace, the boundary between life, memory, and nature seems to vanish. In the 1960s, the cemetery grew again, a new section, though modern in material, with brick, steel, and concrete. The spirit remained Brussels simplicity, humility, harmony. The new funeral hall stands slightly elevated, overlooking a lake and meadows. From here, the view is timeless, a reminder that even stillness can have movement. The tall grasses sway in rhythm, the water reflects the sky, and the forest continues without interruption. Here, nature is not a background, it's the very architecture of memory. I came here expecting sorrow, but instead I found serenity. The more I walked, the more I felt that this place isn't about death at all. It's about continuity, about the way everything transforms light into shade, life into stillness, sound into silence. The trees don't mourn, they transform. What falls becomes soil, what fades becomes growth. And maybe that was Hans Gressel's vision all along, that even in death there is design, not human design, but nature's. As I leave the forest, I feel lighter, as if I have just walked through the rhythm of life itself. The noise of the city feels far away. Here, every sound, every pause carries meaning. I no longer think of this as a cemetery. It's a forest that holds memory, quietly, endlessly. Beauty and impermanence are not opposites here. They are the same breath, the same rhythm that moves through trees, through wind, through all living things. And in that rhythm, I find peace, not as an ending, but as something that has always been here.